Dating back to 19th century England, the racket and ball game squash continues to inspire and entertain athletes across the globe. In order to enjoy this century-old sport, you will need equipment, a court, knowledge of the game, and athleticism. With these, anyone can learn how to play squash. Before hitting the court, you should purchase or rent a squash racket and purchase balls. Squash rackets are skinnier and lighter than tennis rackets. Popular brands of squash rackets include Head and Prince. Did you know that the spelling of racket with the suffix QUET is commonly used for squash, racquetball, and badminton, whereas the spelling of racket with the suffix KET is commonly used for tennis? There are 4 commonly used squash balls that include red, blue, single dotted yellow, and double dotted yellow. Squash balls are slightly smaller than golf balls, that is a hollow rubber ball. In addition, it is highly recommended that all players wear goggles and court shoes to protect not only your eyes, but to avoid marking up the court. The dots on the squash balls represent the skill level because they bounce and travel differently. The skill levels of the balls ranked from beginner to advanced are as follows: red, blue, single dotted yellow, and double dotted yellow. The advanced balls travel faster and have a shorter ball hang time because advanced and professional players have quicker reflexes and hit the ball harder than recreational players. Before playing any match or rally, it is essential to warm up the squash ball by hitting the ball hard against the walls. This allows for the ball to bounce by having more elastic properties and to not die after hitting the ground. According to the Professional Squash Association, squash balls used by professional players are hot to the touch and feel like mini hot coals if you were to hold one after a particularly hard-hitting rally. Here at Purdue University, you can access squash courts at the CoRec by using squash reserve courts or combination racquetball squash courts. Shoes with dark soles are prohibited because they mark up the courts. A squash court can be used by 2 players to play a match or by an individual to practice by themselves. A squash court is comprised of 4 walls. Out of bounds areas includes above the top red lines and the tin, which is a 17-inch metal bar on the front wall. The back and side walls can be used if the ball eventually hits the front wall. You can win a squash match by winning 3 out of the 5 games, where each game is 11 points. If the ball bounces more than once against the floor, the other player is awarded a point. To hold the racket, create a V around the racket between your pointer finger and thumb, like a handshake. Unlike tennis, you do not need to grip the racket tightly or with 2 hands. With a correct swing, you can work your way up to be more controlled and hit harder. The professional squash player, Cameron Pilley, has the fastest hit at 176 miles per hour. During an interview with New York Magazine, he described his swing as a pendulum, where he says, "You want to hit the ball as you're coming down, right at the bottom of your swing." It is important to keep in mind that proper squash techniques can take years to master. You should have learned an overall squash and valuable tips that will improve your game. With these tips, you can begin playing squash and join the worldwide squash community, as the US has the fastest growing squash participation worldwide, with a 66% growth overall since 2010 to 1.71 million squash players, according to the Sports and Fitness Association.